say that I am better now, better now. I only say that 'cause you're not around, not around.
Call it peak performance. Boom! Call it peak performance. One sec. Welcome once again to the TheYREEE YouTube channel with this stupid mic that I can't get out of the camera. Gosh damn it. Yeah, whatever. So, anyway, today we are here to do a movie review. Yes, another one. Finally. I know, I did a Chadwick Boseman video, but we're not going to talk about that today. I already addressed that, so. Today, we review the new Phineas and Ferb movie. Phineas and Ferb, the movie, Candance against the universe.
It's me against the universe.
So, oh, that was a fuck. Yeah. The movie's great. I mean, shit. Now, in comparison to the first movie, Phineas and Ferb Across the Second Dimension, I say this is slightly better. Not to discount that first movie. That first movie is awesome, iconic, and it's a very fun time. But I have criticisms with the first movie. One was being it didn't feel focused enough. It wasn't animated enough to the point where it feels like a movie. And the plot, I mean, it did justify a movie. I don't know. I mean, there's going to be debates of which movie's better, but the fact that there's going to be a debate about it just shows how good this second movie is. Because with SpongeBob and SpongeBob Movie 2, it's obvious which movie's better. It's the first one. But this one, I mean, Phineas and Ferb Candance against the universe? I mean, I honestly don't know which is better, this one or Across the Second Dimension. I mean, I'm going to say this one because it has so much to go with. I mean, and Doofenshmirtz and them, all the characters work together in this movie. It's pretty phenomenal how it's done. I mean, I'm not going to spoil anything. It's a non-spoiler review, but I'm going to do a plot synopsis here, so without spoiling anything. So there's lots of stuff that happens in the movie. I'm not going to say, but so Candance goes. She gets abducted by these aliens, and Phineas and Ferb and the gang have to go and rescue her. That's basically how I can say stuff without spoiling because tons of shit happens towards the end. So. Yeah, guys, it's an amazing animated movie. Now, it's not my favorite animated movie of the year. That still goes to Scoob. It's definitely second, though, but I know what you're going to say. Tate, what the fuck? You don't put this above Scoob? I know, I'm crazy. Just hear me out here. So, overall, guys, the cast and the crew and everybody, Dave, Dan, and Swampy, and the voice actors, they all did amazing. Now, the new Ferb voice actor is Dave Arrego Jr. He does a great job. I don't know what happened to the old Ferb actor. I guess he stopped voicing him. Not like the Ferb voice actor really matters. I mean, Ferb only says a few things once in a while. But Vincent Marcella came back, of course, to voice Phineas. Can't replace Phineas. I mean, he's iconic. Of course, Ashley Tisdale. Now, Ashley Tisdale is Candance. I'm going to say this is probably the best Candance, piece of... Honestly, Candance is the main star of the show. I mean, she gets the most screen time. She has the most development. And honestly, the relationship, there's so much character development in this movie. It just really it's amplified here, bro. I mean, you really get to dive deep into Candance and her relationship with her brothers in this movie. And it's really sweet and it's really well done. That part is probably the best part, is the Candance, Phineas and Ferb relationship in this film. It's really well done. I mean, better than, it's as good as Somewhere Belonging to You was. It's pretty much on that level. And that could kind of better in some aspects. Now, I gotta admit, another great thing is the animation. This is probably the best animated Phineas and Ferb media we've gotten. I mean, the animation here is flawless. I mean, I know some people are critiquing it, saying, oh, it's not like the old style. Well, no shit, it's 5 years later. I mean, obviously the animation's gotta be different. I mean, it's 5 years after the freaking show ended. You think it's gonna be the same freaking animation? Now, I do have a couple of gripes with the movie I'm gonna get into, but I'll talk more positive. So, Isabella. Now, Isabella in this movie is great. Now, she was great in the first movie, of course, with Across the Second Dimension. What I love about these movies with Isabella is that they don't focus on the Phineas Isabella. This movie has zero romance aspect in it, at all. There's no Candace Jeremy going on. There's no Phineas Isabella going on. They're their own characters in this movie, and I'm glad that because they acknowledge the fans don't really. We already know that they're together. We already know they're going to get together. So what's the point of acknowledging that if the fans already know that? This is definitely kind of a fan driven movie. Not as much as the first movie. Across the Second Dimension was definitely a fan movie, 100%. That was the most fan servicey movie. As far as Disney Channel movies go. But this movie isn't as fan servicey, but it does have a lot of great moments, I'd say. Like, especially the third act. The final 20, 30 minutes of this film are just incredibly done. I mean, really incredibly done. Maybe not as good as the third act of Across the Second Dimension. Maybe. I don't know. It's a toss-up. You really can say, if you say the first movie's better than this, okay. But if you say this movie's better than the first one, I agree. It's just, they're both amazing movies. So, what else can I say? Yeah, Perry I thought wasn't going to be that useful in this movie, and I saw him in the poster and the trailers. I'm like, is Perry going to do anything in this movie? And actually he does. He does a lot, and I'm happy about that. I was worried he wasn't going to be, he's going to be this push to the side character who doesn't do much, but they really use a lot, they really do a lot with him in this movie. It's great. Not as much as Candance and the boys, obviously. Phineas and Ferb and Candance are the focus, but in the first movie, it definitely seemed like Perry was the focus and Phineas and Ferb were more the focus. This movie's definitely more of a focus on Candance. It's definitely a Candance-focused movie, and her development and what she means and trying to find her place in the universe. And it's just really great. Also, Vanessa's great. Vanessa's really great, obviously. Alright, so here's where I get into some criticism of the movie. Obviously, it's not a flawless freaking animated movie. I mean, duh. Phineas and Ferb isn't supposed to be flawless. It's just supposed to be a very enjoyable, awesome time. And that's what we got with this movie. But here's where I get into some criticism. Well, before I say, the songs in this movie are also awesome. Like, all the songs are amazing. But that's just to be expected from a Disney movie. I mean, duh. Of course the songs are going to be great. Just as good as Go Across Second Dimension and Summer Belongs to You. Although Summer Belongs to You isn't a movie, but you know what I mean. So, one sec. Alright, so... Alright, this is the part where I'm going to say that there'll be slight spoilers. I'm going to disclaimer. Slight spoilers ahead. So, because I kind of have to get... To really critique this part of the movie, I kind of have to talk about it. So, slight spoilers ahead. So, click off if you don't want... I'll put a timestamp where I stop. But... Okay, so there's this... The villain of the movie is called Super Super Big Doctor. She's the female villainess kind of character, basically. And towards the end, Candance and her, they have a very complicated relationship in this movie. But one of my gripes with the movie is how fast the Candance convinced her to stop being evil. I mean, it was kind of like a Stephen White Diamond kind of thing. It was just like, oh yeah, well, just fix your relationship with your brothers. And she's like, oh yeah, I'll just stop being evil now. I don't know, I mean, bro, that kind of was like, what the fuck? Like, I don't know, I didn't really buy that part. I was like, really? She just turned from... Like, bro, she was evil for like, what, 20, 30 years? All of a sudden, Candance says some shit, and now she's like, oh yeah, I'm gonna stop being evil now. I don't know. Well, she got what was coming to her at the end anyway, but... I guess another critique is maybe the movie should have been longer. I don't know. It felt perfectly paced, though. Like, I gotta say this is way better paced than the first movie was. The first movie was too fast, and it blew by shit. And that was my main gripe with the movie, how fastly paced is what that first movie was. The second movie is really well done paced-wise. I mean, even though it's 90 minutes, you feel like it feels longer than it is. I mean, it's really well paced and really well constructed. And it's a simple, well-written plot that's just really great. I know, I just keep complimenting the movie. It's just really not much to nitpick about here. Let me think. Okay, I wish that they should have referenced other episodes more, because there was an episode where Candance went to Mars and got worshipped, similarly to this movie. So I guess you could say the plot's a little unoriginal for that reason, because there already was an episode where Candance went to a planet and got worshipped. But to be fair, I mean, this movie does it a lot different way, I guess. So in a way, it's a lot more cool how they do it in this movie. I wish they referenced that episode, though. It would have been cool if Candance went back to Mars to get the help of the Martians to help her out. It would have been cool. I feel like they should have referenced the show a little more. They didn't. It was definitely a self-contained story. Like, this movie definitely felt self-contained, unlike the first movie, which referenced the crap out of every freaking episode that happened. Like, Across Second Dimension was, like, the most fan-servicey movie. I mean, it referenced, like, everything. This movie doesn't reference a lot of stuff. It's definitely a self-contained story. Is that a gripe? I don't know. I'm kind of glad it's a self-contained story, because you can watch this without ever having watched the show before. Unlike the first movie, where... I mean, if you don't watch the... You're not going to get the full experience across Second Dimension unless you watch the show. I mean, you literally can't. With this one, you can watch it and never seen the show before. So, in a way, it's actually better for that aspect. It's like Steven Universe, the movie. You can watch that without ever having watching the show. But Cross Second Dimension has that problem where if you haven't never seen the show before, you're not going to get the full experience and not like it as much. You're like, what the fuck going on? I mean, that's the bottom line there. But you probably can still like Cross Second Dimension without seeing the show, but it's definitely more of a better experience if you've seen the show. This one, you can watch it without having seen the show. Let me think. I've heard some people critique about Isabella not crushing over Phineas in this movie, and I'm kind of like, bruh. do you want her to? I mean, it's kind of a good thing. Like, in the movies, Isabel's not crushing over Phineas the whole time, and I'm kind of glad she's not, because it makes her more compelling, you know? I mean, in the show, that's what the show's for. I mean, we see her doing that all the time. You want to see her doing it in the movies? I don't know. Overall, guys, I don't have a lot of complaints with this film. It's just a really well-made, amazing animated film. I mean, really well done. And I'm glad we need more 2D animated films anyway, and I'm glad Phineas and Ferb and this movie exists, because 2D animated films are going out of style. I mean, it seems like they're being overshadowed by all these 3D animated movies like Frozen 2 and Scoob and, you know, all this stuff. So it's nice and refreshing to see a 2D animated movie like this be popular and great, you know? We don't get these anymore. And I wish 2D animation was still being used, and I'm glad Candance made this movie. I'm assuming they're going to make one more movie. It's going to be a trilogy. There's going to be one more Phineas for a movie. I don't know what it'll be about, but I'm assuming it'll be a theatrical one because it's going to be the last one. They planned to make a theatrical movie years ago. They still want to do that. So, like I said, in summary, overall, I mean, basically, Phineas and Ferb, Candance Against the Universe, really great movie. I mean, I definitely recommend it. If you haven't seen it yet, please do. It's really great. It's on Disney Plus. I mean, if you don't have Disney Plus yet, what are you doing? Go get it. It's great. Great movie. Great for Phineas and Ferb fans. Great for people who haven't seen the show yet and you want to get into it. And it's just an overall really fun time. It's an awesome, emotionally driven, great story, great movie. Really not many to complain about. So for that said, I'm going to... So yeah, Phineas and Ferb the movie, Candance Against the Universe, the second Phineas and Ferb movie. I'm going to give it a 9.3. Alright guys, that's my review of Phineas and Ferb, Candance Against the Universe. It's freaking amazing. I mean, shit. Not much to complain about. The complaints are really stupid. This movie's just really well done. You gotta give the props to the creators and the voice actors. I mean, there's really wasn't much I can complain about, as you can see. It's just a really well done and excellent, rewatchable film that will go on for ages, so... I don't know. Between this one and the first one, they're just different movies. I mean, I'd say this one's better made and better written and more focused. The first one's more iconic, though, so it's really hard to say. I mean, if you want to say the first one's better, that's great, but I personally prefer this one a little more. Just a little more. Not to say the first one ain't great. Cross Second Dimension's awesome, but this one's a little more focused and better made and better written and just better paced overall. So for that reason, it's just, you know, it's a little better for me. But anyway, guys, thank you all for watching, and I hope to see you all on that Katy Perry Smile review soon. Peace out. Tatum Meister is signing out.